Hello everybody and welcome to the final part of the ultimate Fortnite Iceberg. After this, there will be a supercut of all the different parts, and that supercut will contain a bonus layer with new entries, so this video isn't quite the end. There's basically one more layer after the end of this video. But this video will cover the bottom layers of the mega Fortnite Iceberg I compiled all that time ago, and I can't believe we've reached the end. It's been an amazing journey working on this project, and I absolutely appreciated all of your support during this process. So if you like this whole series, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and you can also use my supporter creator code RIVETCHA in the Fortnite item shop to support me even further. Additionally, you can subscribe to my Patreon for $4 a month for early access to videos, shoutouts, and the opportunity to provide input for videos. You can also become a channel member for $5 a month for the same benefits, but you also get all the YouTube perks like channel badges. Additionally, if you like the Fortnite content, check out my second channel, RiveExtra, where I will be uploading shorter, more casual videos, many of which will be related to Fortnite. So with that out of the way, for the last time, let's get into the next part of the ultimate Fortnite Iceberg. But before we get into that proper, I have a correction regarding the previous layer. In fact, it's the entry right before this in the iceberg about the leaked Manake emote. Commenter Project Shadow 50 pointed out that when the emote was first leaked, it did not include a syrup bottle, but rather a teacup. The emote was called Gun Spinner Teacup, and it had the skin do the same action as the Manake emote, but with a teacup, with the only difference being that instead of pouring the liquid on their head, they would drink the tea. Thank you for the correction. 2 billion shotgun ammo. This is a glitch that is quite common in Chapter 5, the 2 billion shotgun ammo stack. Players have noticed that after eliminating a player or NPC, they would drop a ridiculous number of shotgun shells, specifically 2,147,483,647. Every time this glitch happened, this exact number would be dropped. And it wasn't just a display glitch, there were actually that many shotgun shells in the stack, although you could only pick up a small portion of it since you would hit the player's max ammo count. But why this specific number? Well, if you're knowledgeable in computer science, this number is actually quite recognizable. 2,147,483,647 is the signed 32-bit integer limit. This is referring to binary numbers. A 32-bit integer is a string of 32 zeros or ones, or 32 bits. It being signed means that the first bit, or the first 0 or 1, determines whether the number is positive or negative. If the first bit is 0, the number is positive. If it's 1, the number is negative. So you have 1 bit representing the sign, and then 31 more bits representing the number, with each bit being either 0 or 1. So the limit will be calculated by 2 to the power of 31 minus 1, which gives us our magic number. So basically, the actual glitch in the code is that when a player or bot is eliminated, the game is saying to drop a ridiculously high number of shotgun ammo, maybe even an infinite number of ammo, which would normally cause integer overflow. However, I assume that there would be some sort of protection against overflow so that there wouldn't somehow be negative stacks of ammo, which would break the game more than just a very large stack of ammo. So they capped it off with a signed 32-bit integer limit, causing this bug. Now, the bigger question is why Epic is using signed bits for a value that should never be negative. Tntina Vault. In Chapter 2, Season 6, if you went to the redacted landmark, you could find a vault in one of the buildings nearby. The building would have some of Tnitina's explosive barrels outside, and if you went in, the vault door was actually open, with graffiti saying boom right next to it. However, while the vault door was open, you still couldn't get inside the vault itself. This is seemingly just an Easter egg, as Tntina herself was not really given any importance in Chapter 2 Season 6 other than this. 4chan leaks. Well yeah, as with basically everything else, Fortnite content has been leaked on 4chan, often a good while before they are officially revealed, and this happens more often than not. Stuff like future Fortnite crew packs, future battle passes, and future collabs have all leaked on 4chan ahead of time. One of the more notable leaks occurred around 7 months ago when someone on 4chan leaked what looked like an internal company document showcasing the roadmap for Fortnite in 2024. Considering that we are now nearing the end of 2024, this leak was spot on. Keep in mind, this leak came out in Chapter 5 Season 2. It showed that Chapter 5 Season 3 would be some sort of apocalypse theme with Metallica and Pirates of the Caribbean collabs. Chapter 5 Season 4 would be a Marvel season revolving around Doctor Doom, and then a Chapter 2 OG season, which is where we are at the time of this video's release. All that's left, according to the roadmap, is the Chapter 5 end event, and then the launch of Chapter 6, which makes sense. Also, the roadmap accurately leaks all the Fortnite Festival headliner artists of 2024. Trailer maps change. This is kind of the exact opposite of leaks. Official Fortnite trailers are events that showed map changes that would never actually come to the game. Of course, this can be explained as creative freedom. Sometimes it's better to include certain changes for a specific aesthetic or artistic appeal. However, considering that trailers and events usually tease what's coming next, it's understandable that some people would be annoyed when something they saw in a trailer or event isn't actually in the game. For me, this happened with the Chapter 2 Season 1 trailer. The trailer pretty explicitly shows pollution surrounding steamy stacks, with cube water running off into the river, causing the river itself to become purple and for the trees and grass nearby to die. However, this pollution was never in the game, which was a major disappointment for me. Another disappointment for many was the Chapter 2 Season 7 end event and Chapter 2 Season 8 trailer. The Skyfire event ended with the remnants of the alien mothership crashing down and destroying the island, as well as a bunch of cubes raining down. People thought that there would be a huge map change, with the island being in complete ruin and covered in cubes. The Chapter 2 Season 8 story trailer also seemed to apply this fact, but it turns out the actual map had like almost no changes. Like, come on, I just saw steamy stacks get completely annihilated in an explosion, and then I load into the game and there's literally nothing changed about it. This is especially egregious, but there have been minor examples of this happening across Fortnite's history, with Chapter 2 being especially bad regarding it. Scientist paradigm description change. If you take a look at the skins in the 7, they all have one of the 7 as their description, with the Foundation having leader of the 7 instead. Well, 3 of their descriptions don't reference the 7, the Visitor, Scientist, and Paradigm. The Visitor makes sense, he was introduced way before any of the others, so he wouldn't have references to the 7 in his description. However, when the Scientist was first released, his description was, his mission is unknown, one of the 7. This got everyone excited since it was now obvious the Visitor and Scientist were part of a group. And then later that season, the Paradigm was released and her description was, her allegiance is unknown, one of the 7. However, despite this, in Chapter 2 Season 1, the one of the 7 parts of the descriptions were removed. The reason for this is completely unknown, as I don't think it was a mistake since Epic would need to go out of their way to do this. Some people speculated at the time that the idea of the 7 was scrapped, but looking back we now know that all of the 7 were released. And it's especially weird that all the members introduced after would include one of the 7 in their descriptions. Just a bizarre change. Axo Otto. If you look at the Axo skin, you can see that he's wearing a jersey with the word nachos on it, as well as a picture of a cat. This cat is actually based on a real cat named Otto, who was the pet of the YouTuber Zach Scott. In 2017, Epic Games reached out to him as they were making banners based on popular YouTubers. Scott's banner was, of course, his cat Otto. However, Scott would request not to have the banner added to the game due to the fact that Otto got sick and would sadly pass away soon after. So the banner would stay in the files but would never be used. That is, until the designer for the Axo skin would one day find the banner in the files and would reuse its design for the logo on Axo's shirt. I'm assuming the designer of the Axo skin didn't know about the original story regarding the banner, which is why they would recycle the design. However, Zach Scott did know about Otto being used on Axo and seemed to be fine with it, so it's nice that Otto gets to be memorialized in Fortnite in a roundabout way. It's all connected, pay attention. On August 21st, 2020, Donald Mustard would tweet out the message, "It's all connected, pay attention. The story is about to kick into overdrive." This tweet was made in the lead up to Chapter 2 Season 4, and he was right. While the storyline definitely existed before that point, the narrative of Fortnite was definitely front and center in the stretch between Chapter 2 Season 4 and Chapter 3 Season 3. It definitely did kick into overdrive in that period, if only the story had kept the momentum. Liam and Finn love Dad. If you used replay mode and looked under the hat of the Indiana Jones skin, you would find a secret message saying Liam plus Finn heart Dad. This was likely a little Easter egg two developers put in as a gesture of love for their dad. However, the message would later be removed from the skin. Shooting Test LTM added early. In December of 2017, Epic accidentally added an LTM called Shooting Test, or Shooting Model. This was supposed to be an LTM that modified shooting accuracy for better aim. However, this addition was a mistake and would quickly be removed by Epic. The LTM would later be added officially as Shooting Test number 1 in February of 2018, which we covered earlier in the Iceberg. Glitched consumables. In Season X, the soccer field was completely removed, leaving a desolate lot in its place. Within the lot, you would find glitched consumables. This was a type of consumable that would actually change between different consumables every few seconds, as it was unstable. It would cycle between being an apple, coconut, hot rock, mushroom, pepper, or shadowstone, meaning that you could get any one of the effects of these items depending on when you consumed it. Saturn LTM. This was less of an LTM and more of a new game mode that was leaked back in 2021. The only concrete thing we have about it is this image. Of course, such a strange piece of art sparked speculation on what this LTM could be. Common consensus was that this was supposed to be an open-world RPG, while other sources said that it was a dungeon crawler. Certainly, the distinct art style, as well as the obvious fantasy genre, made it clear that this was something very different from regular Fortnite. After this, speculation would continue until all references to the Saturn LTM were one day removed. Not much to say since there was such little information about it, but I do wonder if the idea for this LTM ended up being recycled into LEGO Fortnite. 2,147,483,647 Supercharge XP. In Chapter 4, there was this glitch where you can get over 2 billion Supercharge XP. And if you remember the shotgun ammo entry, you know that this specific number is a 32-bit integer limit, meaning that the glitch essentially gave you infinite XP. The way it worked was pretty weird. You'd have to join a specific Discord server of all things. You message a bot on the server, and the bot will ask you to enter your Epic Games login information. After doing so, if you typed in the command supercharged twice in the chat with the bot, your account would start getting this basically infinite XP gain. Of course, this is not kosher whatsoever, and Epic definitely patched this, and I would not be surprised if they issued bans considering that you had to go out of your way to perform this exploit. But I haven't heard about this happening. But yeah, the way you get this XP is super suspicious as well, and it should go without saying that you should obviously never give out your Epic login information to an unverified third party like this. K-pop became iconic. In Chapter 1 Season 5, art for a skin named K-pop was added to the files. This skin would never come out. However, when the Ikonik skin came out later, many people assumed that the K-pop skin was essentially just an early version of the Ikonik skin. They both had the same pose, and they both wore the same outfit, just with different colors, and with Ikonik adding a mask while removing the eyes and ears on the hoodie. Adding the fact that Ikonik was a collaboration with the K-pop group iKON, it's pretty safe to assume that the K-pop skin did become iconic. Though K-pop itself would later become its own skin, actually 5 skins. The Bedhead Brigade set featured 5 skins that each had 3 edit styles, wearing different types of pajamas. Sharktooths designed one of the styles based off the leaked K-pop design, and I think it's cool that Epic actually included it in the final versions of the skins, since I would normally assume that they wouldn't acknowledge a leaked design. Project Rift. Project Rift refers to fan-created softwares that you can download in order to join a private server, which you can play old Fortnite seasons on. This first went up in 2021 and was active until at least 2023. You have to join their Discord server, where a bot will provide you with a key, and using that key you can download the software to join a private Fortnite server, as well as the files of the specific build of Fortnite you want to play. There was also support for live events as well. Obviously, Rift is not officially associated with Epic, but Epic won't care if you play it, since it's a private server that's completely disconnected from Epic servers. Epic is aware of Rift, but they only ever contacted them to ask them to remove all the paid cosmetics from their files, since Rift used to allow you to use any cosmetic you wanted. Now you can only use the default stuff. I am surprised they even allowed this to stay up though. I don't think Rift is being updated anymore, but there are alternatives that are still active. This is only scratching the surface of Rift and Fortnite modding in general, and I'm going to be honest, I'm probably not the best guy to explain it since I'm not involved in the Fortnite modding community whatsoever. But if it's something you're interested in, there is certainly a community out there for you. MagmaReef. MagmaReef is the username of an Epic employee who used to be pretty active on the Fortnite BR subreddit. He worked as the head of the security team at Epic Games, with duties mainly regarding account protection and anti-cheat. He was very well known for quickly responding to posts of people raising concerns about their accounts, such as being hacked or falsely banned, and then actually working in order to resolve the issue, encouraging users to privately message him on either Reddit or Discord in order to recover their accounts. He would clearly explain how these processes worked at Epic and offered full transparency, not just for account and security related matters, but basically any issue regarding the game, and would also occasionally casually comment on posts like a regular user. While his last Reddit comment was 2 years ago, implying that he's currently inactive, people still fondly remember him as a pretty great guy, and as an example of how Epic used to be one of the best in regards to communication with the community, a title which many agree they no longer have. A funny epilogue though, MagmaReef once said Fortnite would never have private servers, which would end up being completely wrong considering the prior entry. Weezer World. Weezer World is a Fortnite creative map created by the team Create, C-R-E with an 8, and released on March 1st, 2019. It was officially commissioned by Weezer as a promotion for the new album, The Black Album, and was helped along by Down Mustard, though I wouldn't necessarily call it a collab since it was just a creative island. I guess it was just a precursor to all the other concert creative maps bands would put out years later. The main attraction of the map was this giant central arena where you could listen to 4 new tracks from the Black Album while chilling out riding on hoverboards. But the map did also feature smaller minigames that you could play with friends, mostly death run style obstacle courses. I really find this charming simply due to how old it is. Of course, the Marshmello concert was before this, so musicians in Fortnite was not some brand new thing. But this was before collabs were even a significant thing in Fortnite. They were just one-off bonuses that happened every once in a while at that point in time. And knowing that Rivers Cuomo, a member of Weezer, was actually a player of Fortnite back then, this collab feels like it comes from a place of genuine authenticity, not the corporate advertisements that musician collabs in Fortnite are today. I guess this feeling was helped along by the map itself. While the map was wonderfully made, with a lot of effort put into making these minigames that frankly didn't even need to be there, it still had that rough cobbled together of Chapter 1 Fortnite, especially the early creative maps people would make around that time. And yeah, even though this is still an ad, for some reason Weezer World makes me feel very nostalgic for old Fortnite in a way that nothing else from that period of the game really made me feel yet. La Parca. La Parca was the original name of the grave skin. It is Spanish for the Grim Reaper, and it definitely matches the skin more than a generic name like Grave. The name was hotfixed right before release. It's unknown why this was. A possible explanation is that it could have been too similar of a name to La Parca with a K, a Mexican wrestler who died in January of 2020, 8 months before Grave released. And while the name couldn't be copyrighted or anything, it's possible that it was changed out of respect to the wrestler, who Epic found out existed right before the release of the skin. Community gravestones. This is a fun entry. Epic would often add gravestones on the map, referencing viral community clips of funny deaths. Epic would reference a clip from chapters 1, 2, and 3 respectively. The first gravestone referenced a viral clip by the YouTuber Muzelk. In Chapter 1 Season 5, he noticed a player seemingly trying to drive a golf cart off the edge of the map. After eliminating the player, he noticed that there was another player stuck on a lower part of the island near the edge of the map, unable to get up due to the sheer cliff surrounding him. Realizing the player he just eliminated was trying to rescue this guy, Muzelk would take up the mantle to try and rescue him himself. Assuming the other guy didn't have mats, Muzelk built a staircase down. However, it turns out that the little part of the island was actually just below the build limit, meaning that even if you had mats, you couldn't build your way back up. However, hope was not lost yet. While he couldn't build all the way down there, the staircase was close enough to the person that a boosted jump could rescue him. The roofs of the ATKs would bounce you up, meaning that if you got an ATK down there, you could jump on it and successfully reach the staircase and climb back up. So Muzelk would try to drive his ATK down there, but he lost control, and well, this happened.
Okay, here we go. This could hurt. Oh god, dude, if we slide off the edge. Oh no. Oh no. I'm coming for you, boy. I'm coming for you. Hold on. Musie's here. Oh no! We killed Chappadoodle. Oh my god. Well, that was a botched rescue operation. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, after all that effort to try and rescue this player, named Chappadoodle, he was killed by the very thing that was meant to save him. This rescue attempt went absolutely viral, and Fortnite themselves would even post a clip of this iconic moment. And later, Epic themselves would add an Easter egg in the game itself to memorialize Chappadoodle's failed rescue mission. First, they fixed the build limit so that you could actually build all the way down to that little ledge. Down on that ledge, there was now a gravestone where Chappadoodle was hit by the ATK. And the cherry on top was that Epic would also add a pile of tires next to the gravestone, so that Chappadoodle's ghost could at least use them to bounce back up to safety. The next community gravestone was from Chapter 2 Season 1. Early on in the season, player Icebergs Origins would post a clip of them swimming off the edge of the waterfall, only to completely miss the river below and dive headfirst into the ground, killing them instantly. This clip would similarly go viral, and Epic would reference it by adding a gravestone and flowers, as well as a no swimming sign. The third viral community clip was from Chapter 3, where a duo It's Smiley6516 and Rust9k would drive their car through a rift, landing so hard on the ground that they were thrown out of the car and glitched into the ground, unexpectedly and instantly killing them. Epic would commemorate their deaths by adding 2 gravestones in the spot where they died, as well as a ruined car buried halfway into the ground. These are all really cool nods to the community, and they were also all really funny, with each of them having a visual joke. Unfortunately, we haven't had one of those community gravestones recently, and I hope we get another one in the future. We Will Be Monsters Cube. We Will Be Monsters is an animated short film from Universal, which features several Universal monsters teaming up to resurrect Frankenstein. Near the end of the short, they resurrect him using the power of a cube, and then Frankenstein opens up a rift to the Fortnite island and they jump through. It's whatever, and it doesn't even make a lot of sense since only one of the main characters of the short that actually got a skin was Frankenstein's bride. The other Universal monsters get their classic forms as skins. But yeah, the elephant in the room here is the cube showing up in the short, especially considering that this was during a season where the cubes or the last reality were not really a focus at all. I'm assuming they just needed some Fortnite related horror MacGuffin, and the cube was the only real iconic choice. Though it indirectly means that in the lore, the last reality was able to at least infiltrate the Universal monster reality. Season 3 crossbow and creative. For some reason, until Chapter 5 Season 1, the crossbow was not available in creative. It's odd because other versions of the crossbow, like Cupid's crossbow and the Fiend Hunter crossbow, were added to creative prior, with Cupid's crossbow being added all the way back in Chapter 1 Season 7. So I'm assuming they just forgot about the regular crossbow. I don't see a reason why it couldn't be in creative. Honestly, the fact that a weapon released in 2018 wasn't added to creative until 2022 is absolutely insane. Chapter 1 Fire. If you guys remember, I talked about a flamethrower leaked in Chapter 1, but it was never added. Of course, it would be strange for flamethrowers to be added with no fire, since fire would first be added to the game in Chapter 2 Season 3, so a flamethrower would just do damage without it. Well, turns out there was supposed to be fire back in Chapter 1, and it would be caused by the flamethrower. However, according to the guy who mined it, the fire effect would cause a bunch of lag, and it's likely that the flamethrower itself was scrapped due to the fact it couldn't get fire right in Chapter 1. Supply Drop Grenade. Another unreleased item from early Fortnite, this time from Chapter 1 Season 3. It was a grenade that when thrown would spawn a supply drop landing spot where it landed. This idea was likely reworked into the dial drop item introduced in Chapter 3. Brite Blimp Secret. This is a secret reactive feature of the Brite Blimp glider. If you used a Brite Bomber or Brite Gunner skin, Brite Bag Backbling, and Rainbow Smash Pickaxe, you unlock the reactivity of the Brite Blimp glider. Keep in mind this reactivity is unlocked only when using the Brite Blimp glider with these cosmetic combos. It doesn't work with any other combo. If you look at the glider, you can notice 4 missiles in the front, underneath the cloud. While the glider is redeployed, if you click the fire button, these missiles can actually be fired out of the glider. You then wait until you hear the reload sound, and then you can fire them again, as many times as you want until you land. Obviously, these missiles don't do any damage, and only you can see them, but it's still a really fun reactivity This is by far considered to be the most obscure Easter egg in Fortnite history, as very few people knew about this until Tabor Hill made a video on it in January of 2023. Keep in mind, this is around 4 years after the glider first released, so it was a very obscure detail until then. I'm not sure how it got past data mining, and if it did, who knows if there are any other secret reactivities or Easter eggs hidden in Fortnite cosmetics, just waiting to be found. Beehive Grenade. Another unreleased item, this grenade would spawn a beehive where it landed, causing bees to swarm and deal 15 damage per second to enemy players. This was likely scrapped since 15 damage per second is kind of OP, and it was essentially spiritually added with the stink grenades. Golden Apple. No, this isn't a Minecraft collab. This was an early version of the Banana of the Gods item, meaning that it would presumably heal you until full and grant you speed. Considering that this was meant to be released in the Myths and Mortals season, it's likely it was a reference to the golden apples featured in Greek mythology. However, the fact that it gave you enhanced healing as well as other boosts probably made it a bit too similar to golden apples in Minecraft, so to avoid any comparisons they likely switched it to golden bananas, which worked since bananas are more linked to Fortnite than apples. Moab. We're almost at the end of this unreleased item stretch, guys, hold on. The Moab, an acronym for Mother of All Bombs, was a legendary explosive weapon added to the files in the preseason. It would deal 200 damage per hit, as well as 500 structure damage. It would never be added to the game because, of course, it's goddamn overpowered. Imagine trying to counter this thing, especially back in 2017 where people didn't know how to build. And even at legendary rarity, this thing would be too common. It would have to be mythic goldfish levels of rare if you didn't want players rioting. Vacuum Grenade. This was another leaked item from Chapter 1 Season 3 with the description, hurls a grenade that knocks back all nearby players once it explodes. While it does sound identical to the Impulse Grenade and even uses the same icon, I think this was an early version of the Shockwave Grenade that was added in Season 4. It's an upgraded Impulse, and Vacuum could be referring to the low gravity it gives the player. Although they did likely change the name, since Vacuum Grenade gives the impression that it sucks players in rather than knocking them back. But that could be an interesting item, a reverse impulse grenade that would suck in anybody in a given radius towards it, and imagine if it had the effect where players affected by it would break through walls. That would be fun to play around with. Space Pistol. Unreleased legendary pistol, with what makes it unique being that any shot it fires would ricochet off surfaces a certain number of times, so essentially your shot would bounce around for a bit if it didn't hit a player. Super Shredder. Remember the pump sniper? Now imagine if instead of being a bug, it was an actual gun. That gun is called the Super Shredder. This was a shotgun added in preseason that was still accurate even at long ranges. Of course, it was never added and was removed from the files in Season 4. Now, I don't think it would have been as overpowered as the pump sniper bug, and honestly I think it would have just been somewhat similar to the combat shotgun. Lobbies are half bots. So yeah, it's common knowledge now that in any given match of Fortnite, approximately half of the players in the lobby are bots. This is dependent on your skill level. If the game deems you a bad player, you can get a lobby of up to 75 bots, and if you're good, your lobby can have as little as 20. But for the average player, your lobby will be around 50 bots, or half the lobby. This is pretty disappointing, as ideally you want 100 real players. Although it does make sense. Think about how many playlists are currently on Fortnite. You've got the regular game modes, zero builds, and reload. And for each of them, you got solos, duos, trios, squads, as well as ranked and not ranked to further split up the playlists. Even with a healthy, active player base, them being divided across all these different game modes likely means there's no way to get them into a full match of 100 real people quickly. The wait times to get into a lobby would be too long. So of course, you've got to use bots to mitigate that issue. There's also another conspiracy that Fortnite intentionally pumps up the number of bots more than they need to, especially in these OG seasons, so that players get the impression that they really are playing back in chapters 1 and 2 when most people were much worse, so having bots replicates that experience. I guess we'll have to wait for chapter 1 OG's permanent return to see how that plays out. Who summoned Kevin? If you remember all the way back in Chapter 1 Season 5, Kevin did not just randomly appear on the island. His arrival was deliberate, with the rift in the sky shooting out lightning that systematically destroyed cacti on top of a hill near Paradise Palms, before shooting out a massive bolt of lightning which spawned Kevin. So who caused this? It could be the Last Reality, as they're the faction that deals with the cubes. However, there is a better theory from Reddit user CoolChair5994. The rift which spawned the cube was created by the Visitor, one of the Seven. Another member of the Seven is the Origin, who used to be the Cube King, the leader of the Last Reality. As the former Cube King, it's likely the Origin still had the powers to create cubes. However, since the cubes were huge, you couldn't easily bring one to the island, so the Visitor created a huge rift to make it easier. The Origin created the cube and sent it to the island with the mission to attack the IO and retrieve the 0 point. That's why it went to the center of the island and opened a hole down to the 0 points. It would damage the IO bridge base, and it would also make the 0 point more accessible for the Seven. It was the second phase of the plan started by the rocket. I think this theory makes sense. The Origin was the one who sent Kevin to the island. Loot llamas brought to life. In Chapter 2 Season 7, llamas were changed from static encounters to living animals. When you approached them, they would run away from you, and if you didn't kill them in time, they would be teleported away. This was basically universally hated. Nobody wanted to run halfway across the map and use all of their ammo just to open a llama, and it got to the point where you would have to seriously consider if you even wanted to go after them. Llamas were changed back to normal containers in the OG season in Chapter 4. Interestingly, despite originally being containers, in Chapter 1 Season 8, you could see on the map a skeleton of a dead llama, with some parts of the skin still on it. This raises the disturbing implication that all llamas are alive, it's just that the ones that don't move simply are incapable of moving, and are stuck forever in that one spot, imprisoned by their own body. Cannibal Fishstick. Another slightly disturbing entry. There have been various examples from different sources indicating Fishstick is a cannibal of some sorts. Of course, the most obvious piece of evidence is Fishstick's restaurant, Sticks, where he serves fish sticks. Additionally, we also see Fishstick fishing, as well as him serving ramen with fish cakes. Now, this technically doesn't have to be cannibalism. Fishstick seems to be an evolved form of a flopper, and floppers aren't the only species of fish in Fortnite. There are a bunch of different types of fish. If he's only killing, eating, and cooking other species of fish, it wouldn't be cannibalism. In real life, fish do eat other fish. It's no different from mammals like humans cooking and eating other mammals like cows or pigs. However, if he is eating other floppers, I guess the line is kind of blurred. The closest analog would be something like humans eating other apes, our evolutionary cousins. And that does happen in some parts of the world. Apparently chimpanzees are in danger of going extinct because people hunt them for food so much, which is sad. So I guess Fishstick eating floppers is still not cannibalism. The real question would be if he is willing to eat other humanoid Fishstick. If that ever happens, then he is definitively a cannibal. Chris Pratt Korean ads. So I actually spoke about this entry in my second ever Fortnite Iceberg video, The Forgotten Entries. Back then, this was actually kind of obscure, although I do think it's become more common knowledge since then. Still, I do consider this a pretty obscure entry, especially considering how weird it is. Basically, back in 2018, Chris Pratt would star in a series of Fortnite ads that would be shown exclusively in South Korea. The ads would advertise the game, obviously, as well as a tournament for Korean players. The ads are also notable for being strangely antagonistic. One of them starts off with Pratt literally saying, "Hey, you Korean noobs," and all of them feature him talking about how he finds Koreans especially easy to win against in Fortnite. And one of them even says that he's going to win all of the prize money in the upcoming tournament, while Koreans will win none of it, because they're so easy to win against. It's a bit odd as an advertising strategy, but hey, it gets your attention. The ads themselves are also pretty weird. They've got a strangely high production value and rarely even feature footage of the game, typically just reusing clips from the original Battle Royale launch trailer, with rare exceptions, and mostly just using shots of random actors looking at the camera. Chris Pratt as the face of the campaign isn't surprising. Western actors have a trend of being the face of large advertising campaigns in Asian countries, even if they usually tend to avoid doing ads in their home countries. Chris Pratt would be a well-known face in South Korea in 2018, which is why he was chosen, though it does lead to some pretty funny posters. Honestly, this is one of my favorite bits of Fortnite trivia, the combination of Chris Pratt, the weird visual and editing style of the ads, the antagonistic messaging, creates something truly memorable, at least for someone used to American-style advertising. 0 point is a seed, a lore theory that does have some substance to it. While the 0 point is technically considered an omnipotent entity, on that scale of incomprehension, it's possible that it could also be a seed. The main piece of evidence is that it can bloom, as shown in the Zero Crisis event. It blooms into a flower. The Foundation says that the 0 point blooms when it is very unstable, and that this was bad for reality. And this is built upon in the Big Bang event, where the 0 point fully blooms, forming a flower-like shape which creates multiple new realities. So I think it would be appropriate to say that the 0 point is a seed that grows into a new omniverse. Koi Dance. The Koi Dance is an emote that exclusively appeared in the Gen Hoshino Soundwave series concert. It's based on choreography from the music video for Gen Hoshino's song Koi, and even though the emote itself technically does not have music, if it were released in the item shop, the music likely would have been the chorus of that song. The fact that this was never released in the item shop is a bit strange, because all the other musicians featured in the Soundwave series got an emote in the item shop. It is unknown why the emote remained unreleased. It could be copyright issues, but considering the music and choreography for Koi were featured in Just Dance, it's not like the owners of the song had any issue licensing it out to video games. It seems like some sort of last minute back out to me. Tunuk Tunuk Tune emote. This was, similarly, another unreleased emote first leaked in Chapter 3 Season 1. It featured music and dance moves from Indian musician Daler Mendy's internationally famous song Tunuk Tunuk Tune. However, this would never release, and would even be removed from the files. This is likely because around the time the emote was added, Daler would find himself in a controversy regarding human trafficking allegations, and he would be arrested for it a few months later. So yeah, not good, and obviously why this emote will never be released. Blue Zone. I think this is referring to the fact that the Storm Circle used to have a blue circle border, or a blue zone, while the Safe Circle would be represented by a white circle, or white zone, like it is now. However, for some reason, this was removed, and there is no border for the Storm Circle anymore. Also, when researching this entry by looking up Blue Circle Fortnite, I found this old Reddit post from 7 years ago sharing a fun fact. When harvesting with your pickaxe, you're supposed to hit the circle indicator to farm faster and get more mats. All the comments were thanking OP for sharing this because they didn't know about it. Oh man, Epic can bring back the OG map and loot pool, but they really can never truly bring back OG Fortnite, can they? Carl. When Coral Castle was first added to the map in Chapter 2 Season 3, it did not have its correct name, but rather the name Carl. Carl was the code name given to the location, so the leakers couldn't get any information regarding it even if they found its name. However, the devs forgot to change the name when it was actually added, and it was only changed to Coral Castle 30 minutes after the update released. Why was the codename Carl? Some people speculate that it was a reference to a joke in the Walking Dead community. Whenever Rick says his son's name Carl, due to his accent, it sounds like he's saying Coral instead. This is overall a pretty funny mistake in Fortnite's history. Vault IRL. Remember the Chapter 2 Season 5 ARG that happened when people found the Durr Burger in the California desert? Well, later, in the lead up to Chapter 2 Season 1, people noticed that if you looked at the same exact location that the Durr Burger was at, you would see this shape in the ground. Of course, it was familiar to Fortnite fans as it looked very similar to the vault uncovered in the center of the map back in Chapter 1 Season 8. While many people thought that this would lead to a new ARG, this was never acknowledged by Epic, and it's unknown if the pattern was intentional or was just something different that Fortnite fans misinterpreted. But another interesting point about the location is that a nearby building was labeled as the 0 point. However, this means nothing, as anybody can go and add labeled location markers to Google Maps. Old Artemis. The original map for Chapter 3 was not supposed to have a snow biome, however, due to the community really wanting one, they did add it. Floor is Lava 2017. The Floor is Lava was meant to be one of the original LTMs, being planned in 2017 to release alongside other OG LTMs like 50v50. However, likely due to the difficulty of implementing the lava, it was not released, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put it on the back burner until Season 8, when a Floor is Lava LTM did release. No ginger males. There are thousands of skins in Fortnite, and Epic have always tried to incorporate a large amount of diversity within their designs and character, which makes it even more surprising that we still have yet to get a male ginger as a skin. People first noticed this 6 years ago, and it hasn't changed in the over half decade since. I looked through all the skins quickly to see if there was even just one, but it seems like all the males with red hair have dyed red hair, not natural red hair. I think the only one with natural red hair is the Gaara collab skin from Naruto, but even then, that just seems like anime logic with hair, where they've got all different crazy colors. We still have yet to have just a normal ginger dude as a skin. It's even stranger considering that we've had ginger women since literally day one, as Wildcat is one of the original default skins. I'm sure this is just an oversight, I mean unless Tim Sweeney's ex-girlfriend left him for a redhead dude or something. Arnold Open World Leaks. Arnold is the code name given to a scrapped open world sandbox game mode of Fortnite, initially planned to release with Chapter 5 Season 1. And I know what you're thinking, but this was not related to LEGO Fortnite. The data miner who found files for it also shared some details. The map would have a lobby, but outside of it, it would be an open world with a variety of biomes, as well as dynamic points of interest that would evolve over time. It would feature NPCs as both friendly vendors and boss battles. Additionally, the mode would have progression and a storyline with 3 acts and 4 different scripted events. The mode does sound somewhat interesting, but it may have been scrapped because it could have been a bit too similar to LEGO Fortnite, and Epic likely would want to prioritize that since it's a collab. Or maybe they're polishing the Arnold game mode and will release a more fleshed out version in the future. Mothership True Purpose. A bit of a dark part of the lore, the Mothership of Chapter 2 Season 7 was only sent to the island as a sacrifice, as we saw in the Skyfire event that it was meant to be bait to be destroyed in order to successfully bring the Cube Legion to the island. It's kind of brutal that the last reality had sent a massive slave army to the island to just be killed as an opening for the real army. It really hammered in how evil and ruthless this faction was, and made the story in the following season that much more intense. Origin's kill count. Since we just established the brutality of the last reality, we have to scrutinize the past of the Origin, who used to be the Cube King, the leader of the last reality. The Origin saw countless realities fall and be destroyed under his reign, and after the true scope of the terror he was inflicting hit him, he left the last reality. If multiple different realities were destroyed by him, he is responsible for the deaths of billions, trillions, possibly quadrillions. Probably the highest kill count of any original Fortnite skin. Well, it's either him or his ex-wife. Chapter 2 is Hyperborea. Hyperborea is a mythical utopian location rumored to be a landmass at the North Pole. If you look at the maps depicting Hyperborea, you can see that it's a continent divided into 4 quarters by rivers in each cardinal direction. The rivers all lead to a lake in the middle of the landmass, with the lake having a smaller island in the center. Where have we seen this before? Oh yeah, this is just the Chapter 2 map. Landmass roughly quartered by 4 rivers in each cardinal direction, lake in the middle with a smaller island in the middle of that. Yeah, the similarities are striking, and it makes me think that Hyperborea was an intentional design inspiration. Fortnite is real. The natural conclusion of Fortnite taking place in a world where multiple realities, including our own, are part of a multiverse. Technically, Fortnite and all of its events are real, we just don't have the means to go to Fortnite yet. Also, just for fun, I looked up Fortnite is real on Google, and I found this article that asked, is Fortnite based on a true story? And the article was just explaining, no, Fortnite is not a true story, it's a fictional battle royale. What? Why does this article exist? Who was asking this? Unfortunate Fortnite timing. I think this is referring to the theme of Chapter 3 Season 2, and why there was almost zero marketing or teasers for it. For any other Fortnite season, there are usually teasers leading up to it. However, there were none for Chapter 3 Season 2. People were confused as to why this was, until the season itself actually released, when it became obvious. You see, the theme of the season was an all-out war between the Seven and the IO, with massive armies mobilizing and the IO even using tanks. Now, this would normally be fine, especially in a game about combat, but Chapter 3 Season 2 released on March 20th, 2022, less than 1 month after Russia escalated the war against Ukraine by mobilizing a massive invasion force on February 24th, 2022, notably using tank columns to do so. So it's clear that Epic was uncomfortable marketing a new season featuring tanks, invasion, and total war right after a major land offensive in Europe started, which was unfortunate timing for them. Some other players also noted that the season's tagline, Resistance, wasn't exactly the best fit for what was actually happening in the game, and that the phrase itself was just tagged on in a static image at the end instead of the usual overlay. So there was speculation that the original tagline was Total War or something similar, which also needed to be changed. So yeah, unfortunate timing that Fortnite's Total War season released right at the same time as an actual major war happening in real life. Grenade Shotgun. The final unreleased weapon on this iceberg, we have the grenade shotgun, or boomstick. This was added to the vials in 2017 and was a shotgun that fired grenades, probably not released due to balancing issues. NSFW maps and mods. An appropriate entry for the final topic in the entire iceberg, at least until the bonus layer in the supercut. Those watching are likely familiar with skin mods for Fortnite, where you can modify your skin model and change it to basically whatever you want. This change can only be seen by you. You've probably seen clips online of people using the skeleton model as a skin. Of course, doing this is ban-worthy, but with modding giving you the ability to change your skin into whatever humanoid model you want, there are of course people who mod their skins into something not safe for work. To put it bluntly, models of naked women. Obviously not showing that here, but it does happen. Similarly, due to Creative 2.0 and further additions of Creative, you have the ability to import and use your own models when making Fortnite Creative maps. As you can expect, this also means people importing models of naked bodies. Additionally, NSFW maps can also be referring to NSFW role-playing maps that people create and upload, which is pretty bad for a game meant to be kids, but honestly, if Party Royale is any indicator, people are going to do erotic role-playing, creative map or not. But I think having any sort of reference to NSFW content, whether implied or implicit, in your map is probably enough to get you banned. So yeah, that is the ultimate Fortnite Iceberg explained. It has been an amazing journey going through this over the past 2 years. I will be uploading a supercut with an entire bonus layer on January 1st, 2025, which is exactly 2 years after the first part of this iceberg was uploaded. Thank you all for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Please use my supporter creator code in the item shop if you want to support me more. Additionally, thank you to my sole patron, Lackadainical, for additional support. You can subscribe to my Patreon for shoutouts, early access to videos, and for the opportunity to contribute to videos for $4 a month. Or you can alternatively become a channel member for $5 a month, with the exact same benefits but a bit more expensive because you also get the channel badges and other member benefits embedded in YouTube. But of course, I'm very grateful for you guys just for watching the video. It's all the support I need. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.